These people met death, shook hands, and said, "Nice try, buddy." Ricky Maget, the guy who looked at the Australian desert and said, "Not today." 2006, Australia. Ricky's driving down a highway. Next thing he knows, boom, he wakes up in hell. No car, no water, no food, just sun, heat, and miles of nothing. So what does he do? He digs himself a hole and lies in it. Not insanity, innovation, a DIY air conditioner desert edition. He drinks rainwater, eats anything that moves, grasshoppers, leeches, lizards, at one point even a dead lizard. Because hey, dinner is dinner. It's the principle that counts. 71 days. When cattle herders finally found him, he looked like a walking anatomy diagram with Wi-Fi signal strength of 0. Later, he wrote a book called Left for Dead and said, "Rule number 1, if you're breathing, stop whining." Then added, "Air conditioning, mankind's greatest invention." Vesna Vulovic, the flight attendant who decided gravity was more of a suggestion. It's 1972. The flight is smooth until it isn't. A bomb in the luggage goes, surprise, and the plane turns into a 10-kilometer-high jigsaw puzzle with no manual. Pieces scatter everywhere. Meanwhile, Vesna, ever the professional, is still strapped to her seat, falling like she's following every safety protocol in the book. 10 kilometers down. Snow, trees, and apparently God's sense of humor, all working together as her crash pad. A local farmer finds her alive. Alive, Carl. Broken bones, coma, hospital, the usual aftermath of a free fall without parachute experience. She wakes up and says, "Why am I in the hospital? I have a shift." A few months later, she actually went back to work. Not in the air this time, but in the office. Because apparently, fall leave wasn't part of company policy. Guinness gave her a record. BBC called it a miracle. And Vesna just laughed. Looks like God simply couldn't figure out how to turn me off. Bahia Bakari, the girl who beat the ocean, without knowing how to swim. Tragedy in 2009, Airbus A310, storm, night, thunder, darkness. Perfect setup for the question, what could possibly go wrong? Answer, everything. The plane crashes into the Indian Ocean. 153 people on board. Only one survives. 12-year-old Bahia Bakari. And yep, she can't swim. No life jacket, surrounded by wreckage and silence. She grabs a piece of fuselage and just holds on. 9 hours. 9 freaking hours. Waves, wind, cold, all trying to break her. She hums to herself and waits. By morning, fishermen find her. Burned, bruised, barely conscious, but alive. They called her the miracle of the Comoros. She just said, "I thought my mom was coming to get me." Sometimes, faith in your mom is stronger than the ocean. Ada Blackjack, the woman who beat the Arctic, alone. 5 people set out to colonize Wrangel Island in 1921. Among them, Ada Blackjack. Not a scientist, not a hunter, just a seamstress trying to earn money for her son. For a while, everything goes according to plan. The plan called Everyone Dies. Cold, disease, hunger, the usual Arctic hospitality. One by one, the men die or leave for help and never come back. Ada stays. And she learns everything, fixes a rifle, sets traps, catches seals, stitches her own wounds, writes in her diary, "I must live for my son." 2 years, all alone. When the rescuers finally arrive, they find her calm, clean, and well-fed. Basically, the Arctic's least impressed tenant. How did you survive? I didn't want to die. Simple, elegant, minus 40 outside, but her willpower plus infinity. Ewa Wisniewska, the paraglider who accidentally visited the stratosphere. 2007, Australia. Ewa Wisniewska, world champion paraglider, is competing when the weather decides, let's make a sequel to 2012. She's pulled straight into a thunderstorm, lightning, hail, chaos, and suddenly she's climbing 9,946 meters. Yep, higher than a Boeing. Temperature, minus 50 degrees Celsius. Oxygen, basically none. She passes out, her body turns into a popsicle. 40 minutes later, the storm spits her out, like, oops, wrong delivery. Her paraglider thaws. She lands, alive, frostbitten, but with one hell of a story to tell. She later said, "I think I met death up there. We flew together for a while. Then she let me go." 2 weeks later, she's back in the air because, it's Tuesday. Flight 571, the team that walked out of hell. In 1972, a plane carrying a Uruguayan rugby team crashes in the Andes. 45 people on board. 29 survive the impact. No radio, no food, no hope. Minus 30 degrees. Hunger, fear. They live inside the wreckage, melting snow for water, sharing every crumb like it's gold. A week later, food's gone, and they do what no one ever wants to do. They eat the bodies of those who died, not out of cruelty, out of desperation. 72 days of hell. Then two men, Parado and Canessa, decide to walk out. 60 kilometers through the mountains. 10 days, no compass, no guarantees. And somehow, they find help. 16 people are saved. Years later, Canessa said, "In the movie Alive, it looked like an adventure. In reality, it was hell. But we chose life. Because sometimes survival isn't luck. It's a decision." So, which one of these totally fun vacations would you pick? Tell me in the comments, in which of these stories you'd absolutely not want to star. Or if you're feeling brave, which one you'd maybe survive. And hey, if these real-life superheroes impressed you or mildly traumatized you, hit that subscribe button. Because here, we collect the craziest stories, so you don't have to live through them.